significant trust factor. I mean, they get to know you much more quickly. If they're seeing a couple of videos or a YouTube channel of videos, they get a sense of your style. And then it also helps you save time because somebody's either going to kind of resonate with you or they're not, right? Mm-hmm. And so if they don't, then you don't end up spending time cultivating someone over a series of emails or even, a meeting, and then discovering that that's not really going to be a fit. The other outcome is they do resonate with you just from seeing your videos. They contact you, and it really speeds up the sales process because they already trust you a little bit just from having seen you on video.
Okay, very good. So it helps build a trust bond quicker because they've seen you, listened to you, seen your body language, how you're dressed, all of that. It gets them to get to know you faster than other mediums. Is that right? Exactly.
Because, you could do this through blog posts or through writing, especially if you're a really good writer, but not everybody is. But everybody is really good at being who they are because they're the only person who is that person. So if you're putting content out there that's establishing you as a trusted expert and it's in video form, it's the most effective way to market yourself. It's the most efficient way to serve your clients. And I can't think of another way that's going to be more effective, like going forward, because there's no replacement for video. Unless it becomes like in Star Wars where, Princess Leia's in the holograph or whatever. Maybe we'll be doing that someday. But that's still a form of video, right?
It is. Way ahead of its time.
They could be beaming you, Christopher, onto your client's desk, and you could be chatting with them. It's still you.
It's funny because, technology-wise, I don't think it'll be long before in my office I could project my clients, let's say a husband and wife, at their kitchen table in another state or country, and them being on the wall in front of my desk and them being able to see me at my desk and me being able to see them almost as if we were in the same room. That's not that far into the future, I don't think.
Well, it's not, and it's really fascinating because I call it's the high touch process, and for me that means just like the parameters, how personalized is the is the interaction, and it's that line is going to get blurred because right now, again, the most high touch is being in person with them over coffee, right?
That's right.
And you just referred to, I think a reality that is coming where we're going to be blurring the line, like is that person in the room or not? It's going to be feel kind of strange. But, right. We're humans and we will adapt. But at any rate, those are the business reasons why video is so powerful. And it's also the reason that I teach a method that for leveraging and creating and leveraging videos with your smartphone. Because if you have a smartphone these days, you have a capacity to make amazing video. And it's kind of incredible, really, given just a few years ago. I gave up my big camera a few years ago, and I only shoot with an iPhone now.
So I was going to ask you, I'm glad you brought that up. So how do I phrase the question? So one thing is you could do very polished videos. You could go to a studio, you could have very professional equipment with lighting, highly edited, and I imagine that type of video usage has its place and could be used effectively. But then it seems to me there's also a methodology where you do a more real-time, natural, on-the-go video with your cell phone, and people tend to like that too, right? Different than the polished production quality stuff?
Yes, I think that you're right. There's a time and a place for the polished production stuff, but I even see with some of the YouTube gurus, and my target audience and the people I follow and watch are mostly female entrepreneurs, but what I see them moving away from is first they sort of copied the talk show look, where everybody was dressed nice and sitting on a big high chair, and I think that's you're seeing we're moving away from that a little bit. It is getting more casual, and the problem too with really expensive studio shoots for entrepreneurs is I question the ROI on those. Because, yes, you'll get amazing-looking videos, and sometimes you get branding help in those. consultation, but then you still just have 3 videos. And we are in a time where, ideally you're putting out at least 3 videos a month, if not per week. And so it's unsustainable. I mean, most businesses that I know of, unless they get really, really, very successful, don't have a studio set up where they sit and can do videos professionally 3 times a week, right? And besides that, you don't really need it. You can set up a home video studio very easily with some tips and tricks I started doing this because I had other entrepreneurs asking me, oh, you do video, can you help me? And do you know how to do this and that? And I kept thinking, well, yeah, I do know how to do that. And isn't there a course out there? And they would say, well, no, not really. And so what I realized is, what is it called? It's not the curse of knowledge, but it's like when you're inside something, you can't see, the perspective anymore from the outside. And I realized that I know how to do this because I was a video producer for marketing videos for many years. So I know how it's a system. But if you don't know the system, it seems overwhelming. It takes a long time. And so that's what I finally came out. I thought, oh, okay, it's not just this question, that question. It's knowing how to do the whole thing as a system. And then if you can do that with a few tweaks that are also easy, but not necessarily obvious to someone with no video background, you can produce videos that look better and sound better than 90% of what's out there, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's really magic.
I could talk to you about this for a very long time. I have one last question, and I want to switch topics slightly.
Sure.
I've seen some videos on social media, most notably LinkedIn, and I'm going to use LinkedIn as an example because you expect that to be a little bit more commercial, business-oriented than maybe Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms. But I've seen some videos where the people are super casual, where they're talking to you about an important business topic. It could be mortgages or a legal thing or whatever the case is. But they're like exercising, walking in the park with their dog. That's a turnoff to me. Like, I found those a little odd and disconnected. And maybe I'm not the target market, but am I alone in thinking that? Or maybe I'm old-fashioned at 48, but it just strikes me as peculiar. I don't necessarily need them on, like, the set of Oprah Winfrey, but, in their jumpsuit, running in the park. I don't know. Am I the only one that thinks that?
No. Actually, that's so funny because I feel the same way, and I don't always say that. But I agree with you, and I think it's an attempt to, we're supposed to be authentic on video, right? And I think,
yes.
And people are getting a little confused that authentic doesn't necessarily mean, in your jog suit talking about mortgages.
Right. Now, if it's a personal trainer or like a weight loss coach,
right.
or somebody that's going to show you how to have more leisure time, okay, then it would not be disconnected. But I don't think I want to see, if I'm searching for a lawyer, I don't necessarily want to see my lawyer out for a jog in his cut-off T-shirt.
Exactly, yeah. So, no, right. I agree with you, and I think especially for LinkedIn, we have to be a little careful. Just consider your audience, right? So if somebody is thinking, like you're in their target audience, and they're doing that, then maybe, it's a little off. However, if their target audience is, millennials doing, vacation planning or whatever,
right?
You have to. I think millennials are a little more forgiving of that, but they see that, they kind of expect it from each other. I'd be a little. This is my personal opinion, but I would be a little bit careful of trying to be too cool if your target audience is millennial. And, you're trying to sort of imitate them. I don't know. I think we should be who we are and sort of just act our age.
That makes sense. I think we could leave it like my takeaway from our little quick chat about this is there has to be a rationale for why you're doing it. And it probably shouldn't just be that it's cool and hip. It does have to tie into the rest of the message, who you are, who your target market is. Otherwise, it might come across as maybe a little dopey.
Well, yes, because also you can get more casual further down your funnel, right? So the first impression of someone when they see you maybe doesn't necessarily need to be so casual. But like I do more casual videos for my, my group on Facebook. Like I don't always, put on a super nice top or whatever. Sometimes I'll have a baseball cap on, but those are the people who like we have more of a relationship with.
Right.
And
that makes complete sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had said before I asked about that is switching topics slightly.
Mm-hmm.
I read in some of your materials a quote, I think it's attributed to you, that you believe this is the golden era of female entrepreneurship. Number one, am I right? Did you say that, and do you think that? And then number two, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I did repeat that. I didn't coin that term.
Okay.
I saw it first on the Elevate Network, and then I think that Forbes also picked it up too, the golden age of but I definitely do believe that. The number of women starting businesses has increased like 68% since 1996, I think, was the statistics. And
wow.
The other cool thing is women of color are leading the way. African American women are starting businesses at much higher rates than anybody else, followed by immigrant women. And then I think women right now are just slightly, in general, are slightly more prone to start a business than men if you're just looking at genders. But yes, we're definitely in a place where women are starting more businesses than ever before. The over 50 crowd is also very active. Over 50 women are starting more businesses than they have in the past, and it's circular. I think it relates to the very first points we were making in this talk about just us waking up, and not just women, but we're waking up in our mid-50s going, oh my gosh, I feel take care of myself. I'm healthier than I was when I was 35, and I could live for a long time if I don't, something like a sickness or whatever doesn't happen. So what am I going to do with the rest of this life? And I think that that's what we're attributing to women in general. Their second business kind of tends to be like maybe they worked for a while as in a corporation, and then they want to start a business that has more impact in their community, or that kind of benefits something other than just the monetary piece. We do start businesses, of course, to make money, but then we also have these other goals as well. So it's a really exciting time. A lot of that activity is happening online, which is why I'm there too. It's fun to be a part of that trend, and also to feel like, because if I can help one client get her video program really going and successful, that has an impact on hundreds of other people, if not thousands, over time. So it's very exciting.
It also seems to me, Kayla, that this golden era also includes the fact that females are not just becoming more entrepreneurial, but they tend to look out for one another, and there's this community of women that want to help other women. Your business, I'm sure you have clients that are both men and women, and you're open to all comers, but it seems like your target market, if you will, is female entrepreneurs. And it does seem that there's this increasingly tight-knit camaraderie in the female entrepreneurial world trying to help one another out. Is that true?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think it's partially because, well, I don't want to speak for a certain sector, but I'd just say, like, for the African American women, I believe one reason why we're seeing this explosive growth and a lot of activity is online is because they have been able to find the support and accountability support and all the infrastructure that and community online that maybe was harder to find in the brick and mortar cubicle world. So I agree with what you're saying. Practically speaking, too, here's another kind of business tip for some of your listeners. If you are starting an online business, because it is such a crowded space, no matter what you choose to start up, you have to niche on your first initial audience. You have to decide, pretty clearly who you're doing what for, and be really focused on that. Because if you try to be everything to everyone, it's very unlikely that you'll fail, because you will have a hard time getting traction. So yes, my audience right now is midlife female entrepreneurs with online businesses who are the face of their business, coaches and consultants. Having said that, my method works for anybody who wants to be doing video online. So the strategy, is to kind of, they call it your beachhead, I think, niche. Is to kind of build your business serving a particular